Hi, this is Jen Cray and welcome to my YouTube channel. So this week I've stepped way out of my comfort zone and I had a little play with the Devotion Vanity Box and Memory Book die set from Tonic Studios. As soon as I saw the shape of this die set, I knew I was going to use the STAMPERIA Mechanical Seaworld paper pad. This is an 8x8 paper pad. It's double-sided and it's absolutely beautiful. It is perfect for this memory book. It has so many beautiful sort of grungy pages. It has double-sided, very small tags. It has double-sided toppers that are perfect for memory books, and all sorts of beautiful scripts, writing, grungy words and pages. So I just wanted to quickly show you the paper pad that I would be using for this project today. To create the vanity box, all you need are two of those largest dies. So cut two out and you have the long slender ones. You need two of those, and then you have a couple of accessories. So these are two little base plates and they're to create the closures. If you just go ahead and die cut those right into each of those long die cuts, you can see there that that's just at the top and that's how it closes. You also have another two dies that cut into those arms and they create ribbon holes. Two different types of ribbon holes. I haven't used them for this project, but I just wanted to quickly show you what they look like when they're die cut, and then I put some ribbon through them as well. So you just go ahead and die cut those into the those little panels, and as you can see here, that the ribbons add a different look to your vanity box. So once you've cut those base pieces out, what you're going to do is you're going to grab a bone folder. This is really important for me because you need to make sure that all of those score lines are scored really, really well. Otherwise you might not get perfect alignment. So you go ahead and score all of those up, and then you are going to attach the arms on one part of the base. Make sure that they are on the same side, and then you're going to cover it with the other part of the base, a larger part of the base, so you're covering up all your workings. That's effectively the workings of your vanity box. If you don't want to add anything else to it, you can just fill that up with sweets, decorate it, and you are done. I'm going to take this vanity box a little bit further and turn it into a detachable memory book. So I'm going to grab my Tonic Studio Simple Spine, which is the 2279E, and I'm going to create a spine just to fit in there. If you don't have one, don't worry, there's a ton of tutorials on YouTube, and I've got the two sets of layering dies that come in this die set, vanity die set. So the first one I've used just for the outside, because that largest die cut there sits outside of your vanity box, and if I turn this around, you'll see that there's like a lip, so it hangs over a little bit, and that's exactly how you want it to be. If you look closely, you will see that there is an alternative set of layering dies in here, and I use those to create my mini memory book. I guess this is where the fun begins with me. So I'm going to take some of those layering dies and we're going to cut out some 240 GSM black cardstock, and we're going to start grabbing those other smaller layers, go through the paper pad and have a lot of fun. Just a couple of points that I really want to mention is that placement is key when you're working with paper pads and you want to get everything aligned. Now there was a die for the arm of the vanity box that doesn't have an inside die, so it doesn't have a panel die. So what I've done is I've taken it and I've placed it on either side of her body and the bottom as well, and I've drawn around it. So I'm just going to show you here. It's really easy. I think the pen was just like a yellow fine liner. I didn't want it too dark. I'm just lining that up as close as possible, and then I'm going to cut those out for some additional panels. For me, this makes a really huge difference to the overall look of the project, and it gives it a bit of a wow factor really. If you didn't have these panels, then you could use the ribbons that I showed you earlier. Once I've drawn around those die cuts, I'm going to go ahead and cut them out and start putting everything together on the front of the Vanity Box. This kind of, I think, spawned my creativity a little bit, and gave me some ideas for how I could decorate it on the inside. I really like how you've got the neck on the bottom and you have her face on the front, and the sides all match with her hair. I think for me that's really important. The attention to detail is really important when I'm doing projects like this. I'm going to decorate the inside of that vanity box in exactly the same way. So I'm going to cut around the panels for those long arms, and I'm going to make a couple of pockets as well with just some fun elements to it. So our little memory book is going to be a standard size. It's going to have 3 double pages on the inside, and all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to start taking lots of the papers and creating different types of like pockets, and cutting the papers out and making tags and all sorts of various things. I created all of those pages individually, so we're going to go ahead and stick those together now and then put them into the memory book. So we have some double-sided tape on both sides, and we want to remove the backings on that except for the very bottom piece, and we want to do that on both sides, and then we want to add some wet adhesive. So the reason why we add wet adhesive is because double-sided tape is not permanent, and when the weather changes, if it goes hot or cold, then it's going to come unstuck. But if you use wet adhesive, it's going to make sure that it sticks together, but you also have the advantage of using the double-sided tape for the instant grab. So once I've done that, I'm going to remove those bottom 2 pieces of the double-sided tape. I'm going to stick a little bit of wet adhesive in, and then add that to that spine base that I created earlier. To me, this was the simplest way to do it, and it literally only took a minute. We're going to go ahead and repeat that on all of the other pages in the book, paying attention and making sure that the sides are perfectly symmetrical and they are aligned. This is probably the trickiest part of the whole project. If you don't get those pages aligned perfectly and they stick out from your front cover, they're not going to close inside of your vanity box. So you really want to make sure that everything is perfect. All the sides are the same size. So as you can see here, there's nothing sticking out. Just to give it some extra strength, I'm going to go ahead and use some pins and hold those in place until they are perfectly dry. I'm going to give it about 20 minutes until I go ahead and complete the rest of the project. Once those are all dry, I'm going to go ahead and grab some ribbon, and I'm going to attach that to the inside before I decorate those panels, just with some double-sided tape, and then we're going to cover them up with some paper. I spent way too long deciding what to put on the front and back of this little memory book, but I've gone ahead with those grungy sea papers and then that beautiful deep sea diver. I just thought the images were perfect for the size of the dies and the book itself. I did go a bit crazy, and I actually made a second little mini memory book, and that has the same, like the matching head of the female on it, and I'm going to show you that a little bit later. But the pockets are basically the same, and yeah, I just wanted to quickly mention that. Now, some of these pockets, they are a little bit tricky to glue together because you've got to have a very small amount of glue. And when that's the case, then I'm just going to go ahead and use those little pins again and make sure that everything is dry before I move forward. One of the last things that I did was I die cut that love sentiment that comes into the kit, and I just attached it through those fastenings at the top. I had such a great time making this album. In fact, I ended up making another mini album, which you'll see at the end. A bit crazy, I know, but it was just so fun, and I can see myself making more of these types of albums in the future. So I'm looking forward to learning about, you know, new types of pockets and new flips and flaps. But I think as a starter vanity box and memory book, I did a pretty good job here. I'm going to go ahead and walk you through my little album to show you all the beautiful papers that I used and the way that I decorated it. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Please give me a thumbs up if you like it, and subscribe to my channel, and I'm just going to catch you right at the end of the video now. I mentioned earlier that I made a second memory book without Vanity Box, and this is it. Instead of it being a landscape memory book, this is a little portrait one, so the orientation is different, and I used a lot of the dies from the die set itself to make those little tags. So this is a beginner's book, and that's because I'm a beginner. I had a great time doing it. I learned a lot along the way, and I'm sure that I have so much more to learn in the future. I really look forward to making more books and to having more tutorials with you. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me today and watching me make this vanity box and memory book set. Something completely new to me, and I had a great time. Wherever you are in the world, I hope that you have a great day. Please stay safe and take care. Happy crafting!